All right, so this is going to be like an update video because I've not for a month and I've not even posted anything. And you know, the reason for that is because I've taken on more work, and when I do live streams, basically what I would be doing otherwise in general is just I get to run in front of a camera or even just videos. But it's like YouTube for me is like a form of self-expression and just sharing what I'm doing with the world because I would be doing this otherwise also. So just putting it out there in case it anyone tune in, they want to like co-work or if it helps out in case or just get a fresh perspective of like at least how things. And since I've not been giving my own program much time, I've not been able to stream much or even do anything other than that. That I do want to get consistent again because it's not that I've not been doing much at all. Because as from the title, I did get into embedded, and this time feels different than what I was trying out last year. And I do have some stream from last year where I was doing some audio related stuff, and then on the web, then I made it kind of on the what do you say? Like I used an ESP32, got my laptop, I did some stuff on that, and that was pretty fun when I did last year. The reason I picked it up this year is simply a Spider-Man brand new day. The dude, we've got the perfect Spider-Man in Marvel after 10 years. I mean, but not to mention, hey, let's go. Anyway, my point is, I was watching the movie, and in every Spider-Man movie, and just in like other Marvel movie or just DC, whatever, like usually a scene of the character working on, in case of Spider-Man, his web mask or his costume or whatever. And whenever I see those scenes, I'm like, dude, why am I not doing that? And not because like the character is doing it, because I've tried hardware and I did do robotics in like third time I joined like a robotic class, and I remember how fun it was back then. Last year when I did it was super fun. Right now when I'm doing it, it's so rewarding to just do something in the real world and see it happen in the real world. Something about it is super exciting, and just this time I saw a brand new day. Then I came out of the theater and I was like, if I am going to take anything from the movie, which oh my god, there was so much to take from the movie. But one of the things I really want to take, kind of stick with and be consistent with, or at least consistent not of every day, but in terms of actually having this as permanent knowledge and something I'm continuously doing, like something I'm tinkering around with, which is hardware or embedded. Hardware is technically the wrong term, but embedded, where I actually understand what I'm doing this time. Last year I think I was just kind of winging it, where I was like, okay, I need to get the to instead of I want to do this thing, and for this I'll understand all these main aspects. So I started, I had a few ASP32s, so I started working with those. And this time I actually got into like the basics of it. So things like serial communication protocols, where you have SPI, you have I2C, I2C, and then I today someone told me about I2S, which I was like, oh, okay, that's a thing. But I've been getting into these communication protocols. I ordered an OLED display, and then I was like, oh, these four pins in the OLED display, they're specifically for I2C. And what the pins in those mean, where S is serial data and SCK is serial clock. So basically like actually kind of getting into how embedded works and whatnot. In fact, I have something running now. Oh, please don't disconnect. Please don't disconnect. Yeah, I don't know if, yeah, that's an ESP32 and that's an OLED display. That blinking that's happening. Yeah, it's just me kind of. Can you see it? Yeah, just like random text that I've just been displaying in random positions. So I want to try it out. See, because I got the OLED display today and I got an older one, but it's effective. So I was trying to figure that out, and that was a whole deal. But point is like an OLED display working with something, and I want to learn on how to actually render things properly. I want to probably make like a small board UI kind of thing, and then I want to connect a controller and then put a game on this UI with that, and then with the help, if I could get motors, I can connect the controller. I could get like some metrics on the display. Then I could make like an RC car, and the box that this OLED display came from, I could probably just put in wheels on this and just like. So that is something, and I want to. A drone would not be that hard, like a body like this for the drone. What else? I do want to make like like whenever I wake up in the morning, I usually have to like, get out of bed and switch on the light. But if automatically at like in the morning it automatically switch on the light, like a message which message what do you a device basically which kind of like switches on the switch in the morning automatically and closes at night automatically based on the time. Something like that would be fine. And this time actually kind of genuinely understand what I'm doing. Be able to think of whatever new things I want to make. I can, oh yeah, I'll use this, I'll use this, I'll use this. These are the trade-offs. This is how I go about it, and actually make it, solder things if required, and next step, which I don't think is going to be in the next few months, but actually design like the PCB for it, or maybe kind of 3D print an existing PCB and then work on that. Solder. I do have like a soldering, or I don't know what it's called, but I've never done it. And one of my goals here is to make a split keyboard, which I thought would be like I just have to put things together and whatnot, which is still on my list. And I think this is the confidence to do that as well. But that's on another project, the streaming software that I'm making. Which I've done I think 2 live streams about it, but I've not just I've not got time for it. I did get back to it. It was like oh, this is like I'm not considering so many things. It's actually a pretty big project which I need to kind of genuinely think about and give it a lot of time. Anyway, that's a lot of thoughts in a few minutes there. But point is, it's actually super fun because you know like I just feel like I should have already been doing this since college, because I did do it in college for like just the basics again. And it's been like all these years whenever I've picked up hardware, it's been the basics. And I don't want to be just basics anymore. I want to actually learn. I want it to actually stick in my head. And I want to actually be able to make things in real life, which maybe not have utility, but just for, being just for, I find it cool. It would be fun to make web, should be fun to maybe make something Iron Man related, or like the dummy arm in Iron Man. That would be pretty cool. And just a lot of so many things to try. Like if I could get a good enough to run on a local hardware. I mean, imagine it is, and I want to make a dashboard with kind of all of these things. Some basically like taking inspiration from Iron Man or Spider Man, where just I don't know. I feel like this is something I should have been doing for quite a while, and I think it's still not that late to get into it. So that's why I want to pick it back up and pick it back up, and make a video on this. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So the thing I did learn is not a lot, to be honest, except then just how does the memory work in ESP32? What exactly ESP32? It's not the whole board that I showed. It's like the small chip that's there. That chip gets attached to the development board, kit board, something like that. It's the one I have is ESP32 Dev Kit V1, I think. So it basically attaches the chip with the peripherals and attaches all the pins and all that you attach to the comps, and then I have my yeah, just a second. I also learned that Arduino, one is the microcontroller. I think it's a microcontroller, but one is the basic device itself. One is the framework which I'm using to code in, and I am using Platform IO as my thing to upload the code to the device to the ESP32, and that's been super fun. I think Platform I just made it very because I don't like I'm coding in NeoVim and then I'm uploading the code to the CI commands because I don't want to use VS Code and use the IDE and whatnot. I think like NeoVim is just my comfort, and which to get back to C++, which I've not done in years. So I think hopefully this will also kind of push me into C++ concepts in general, because after I make my streaming software and my split keyboard, or like my split keyboard or whatever, I intend to kind of go a bit deeper into the technical stuff. So things like implementers, making like small prototype projects of all these big things, like a database would be fun, a framework would be fun, like a front end or a back end framework would be fun. So like these, which ideally would be better done in low level languages. So that is something I want to try, and I think this is like going to be a nice shift to that. So that's something on there. What else? Yeah, the program you write, it's called a sketch. That is something. And also, yeah, the framework itself, the Arduino framework, that is not the actual code that's getting uploaded. So that, I think it's called ESP IDE. I think, which is basically the board itself has like a specific language, which the framework, the Arduino frameworks it to what the ESP32 understands, then uploads it to the ESP32, and then the ESP32 writes it like the I think the USB, whatever that is there, it actually writes it to the silicon chip that this is what you need to do, and then this is, you already have the components, run your thing that you need to run. So that was pretty cool. And yeah, a lot I got kind of understand the concept of a bus now, which is basically, imagine like there's power source which has a wiring through it. And if I have multiple devices which can attach to that wire and derive power from there, that wire itself becomes a bus. So it's like a common link between different components that want to attach onto it to, work through the device's functionality that have been attached to us. So I kind of get it, but I think I'm going to need to get more intuitive with it and work on more complex circuits to actually be like, oh, this is how it works. And I do have a few more things, and I do want to order a few more things. I have like a list of projects I want to try out. So let's say this is what's been up. I've been doing some embedded stuff, and I'll probably we make a live stream about it, like do a live stream someday in the future. But I'm also just figuring out the basics. And if I do a live stream, I would like to, make it fun and not just learn the basics and be like, oh, this is the live stream. I actually want to, get the basics done, be able to be, sufficient, like have sufficient knowledge to be able to build things on my own, and then actually do a live stream where I'm actually building something fun. So that is it. But I do want to get back because I do have to finish that software thing. And then I would like to make a video about my split keyboard when I do making it. And then the latter half of the year, I think I'm just, instead of doing, like projects which I need to maintain, I'm going to be, implementing papers, into deep, like low level stuff, and hopefully just keep doing embedded because I think it's just super fun. So that's what's been up. And yeah, I think I'll just keep the video to the nice small short video. I also do want to get back to open source. I do have other K6PR planned, but again, I've just not gotten time for it, and I don't want it for that. I've also been working with AX more with Cursor, but that's a separate thing. I don't want to get into that right now. But yeah, I'll keep the video to this, and I hopefully will see a stream or a video. Anyway, all right, peace. Bye bye. Where is the end button?